I woke up this morning with a special message for my fellow Gen Xers. You know, if you're Generation X, like I am, it's kind of crazy to think about, but we've lived half of our life already. And now we're entering the second half of our life. And I woke up with this very special message in my mind, and I want to share it with you because it can change your life. This message is for everyone. But if you are a member of Generation X, this is handcrafted for you. I'm going to read something to you from the book of Job in the Old Testament. I'm going to turn to the last chapter, chapter 42, and read this to you. Let it sink in. This is not going to be an in-depth, like deep dive, but it is, but it's very simple. And we're going to make this a quick video because I really want you to take this and run with it because it's going to change your life and the life of those around you, especially if you're Generation X. So it says here in Job chapter 42, so the Lord blessed Job in the second half of his life more than in the beginning. So we're entering the second stage of our life if we're Generation X. We've lived half our life already. And let me ask you something. Has the first half of your life been everything that you hoped and dreamed it would be? If you're like me, probably the answer is no. There's been a lot of good, cool things that have happened. You've probably done a lot of cool things. But wouldn't it be great if you knew for a fact that the second half of your life that you're in right now is going to be way better than the first half? Well, I got great news for you. That is a fact. The second half of your life is going to be better than the first half of your life if you will do one simple thing. I'm going to go up just a few paragraphs, and it says this. When Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes. So I don't know if you know a lot about the Bible, and it's okay if you don't. I happen to have just grown up in a Christian household, spent most of my life in church, so I've got a lot of Bible knowledge just embedded in my head. Now, I'm not trying to kid you. I haven't lived my whole life like some Bible thumper or anything like that. But I do have some knowledge of the Bible, and I woke up with this in my head. And sometimes that just happens. When you've got this Bible knowledge in your life, sometimes you'll just wake up and there'll just be something, some scripture, some passage on your mind that is very pertinent to what is going on in your life at that moment. It's kind of like the magic of the Bible. It's just kind of timeless. And so we see here, when Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes. So real quick, Job was a wealthy, rich man. He had a great family. He had everything he ever wanted in the first half of his life. But he also lost everything he ever wanted and ever had in the first half of his life. And how did he lose it? By entertaining doubt and fearful thoughts. He had everything he could ever dream of. He was completely blessed, a very wealthy, prosperous man. But he started having fearful thoughts. He started doubting that he was maybe going to lose his money, that he was going to lose his family, that he was going to lose his prosperity and end up broke and poor on the street. And that's exactly what happened. You can read this. It's an amazing story. The whole book of Job is amazing. But the end here in chapter 42, the last chapter in the book of Job, it is handcrafted for Generation X, for us. So pay attention to this, please. It's very important. It's going to change your life. When Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes. So the Lord blessed Job in the second half of his life even more than in the beginning. You see, when you read through here, When Job started entertaining fearful thoughts about his life, doubtful thoughts about his life, he started to lose everything that he had. He eventually lost all of his money. He eventually lost his family. He lost his home. He lost his health. He became a very sick, poor, broke, lonely man because he started focusing on negative things. And when negative things started happening to him, like when he lost his home, when he lost his money, he started focusing on that. He started looking at the things that he didn't have. And the amazing thing about the way the universe works is when we focus on the things that we don't have or that we don't like, we start attracting more of what we don't like into our life. Because where our attention goes, our energy flows. So if your attention is always on what you don't have or the negative things in your life, like your small house that you live in or your old car that you drive, maybe you're not in perfect health and that's what you're focusing on, every time you get up in your car or get up in the morning and go to your car's old, maybe it has a hard time starting, and you're just upset and frustrated that you have to drive this old car, and maybe you're going to a job that you don't like, and so then you're focused on that. And then it just starts stockpiling on you. You live in a tiny house, you drive an old beat up car, you go to a job and you work 8 hours at a job that you don't like, and if that's what you're focused on, if you're focused on all the things that you don't like, your energy is flowing into those things and causing them to increase. That's not the ideal way to live. That's not what we want. And that's what Job was doing. He started focusing on the things that were happening to him that he did not like. And those things were happening to him because he was entertaining doubtful, negative, fearful thoughts. And so negative, doubtful, fearful things started to happen to him. And then he started focusing on those things. And then he just started getting more and more and more of the things that he did not want. But something happens here at the very end of the story of Job. He changes his mindset. He shifts into a new mindset. He takes his eyes off of himself and begins to focus on others. You can read through here. He was just like, I curse the day that I was born. I wish I had never been alive. I wish I never had a family. I wish, oh, woe is me. And so he started accumulating more and more negative things and eventually lost everything, including his health. But something happened at the end. He realizes who he is in God. And he shifts his mindset. Instead of focusing on the negative things in his life, he takes his eyes off of himself completely and begins to focus on others. And it's amazing what happened. And he did this right as he was entering the second half of his life. So this is for you, Generation X, because that's where we are. We are now in the second half of our life. And it says here, when Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes, and the second half of his life was more blessed than the first. So right now, change your mindset. Don't be focused on the negative things in your life anymore. Start right now to pray for others. Instead of just praying every day, oh God, I need more money. Oh God, I need a better car. Oh God, I hate this job. Please give me a better job. Look, you're going to get all those things that you want, but you don't get them the way that you think you do. You get them by praying for those very things for others. And the moment you do that, God begins to restore you. When you shift your thinking and you shift your focus off of yourself and onto others, you begin to accumulate all of the good things that you want. It's a biblical principle. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat others the way you want to be treated. What goes around comes around. You can call it karma. You can call it whatever. It's a spiritual law. So if you will take your focus off yourself and begin to focus on others and begin to pray for prosperity, for health, for wealth, for peace, for safety, for security, for blessings for others, you're going to get those coming back into your life. But if you're just focused all the time on what you want God to do for you, you just end up attracting more of what you don't want. So, right now, if you want the second half of your life to be better than the first half, all you need to do is start focusing on the good of others. Start today. Start praying for your friends. Start praying for prosperity, for health, for good relationships, for peace, for safety, for security, for other people. You don't even have to know who they are. You can pray for all living beings. The point is, if you'll shift your focus from yourself to others, you will get all of the things that you desire. It's a spiritual law. That's just how it works. It's a universal principle that what you give out comes back to you. If you're praying for the good of others, then others are praying for the good of you. But if you're just focused on yourself, then everyone else is just focused on themselves because you are creating your reality. So this is it, guys. This is what changes everything. As Generation X, half of our life we've already lived. And we're entering the second half of our life. So let's do what Job did. Let's shift our mindset. Let's begin to focus on the good for other people. And just watch what happens. You're going to be restored. And the second half of your life is going to be way better than the first. This really does work, guys. Give it a shot. I'll see you on the next video.